Yugi Bros!
Sup my Yugi Bros, it's Connor. This video's giveaway item is 2 packs of Trials of the Kingdom. All you have to do to enter it is like this video and click that notification bell, be a subscriber to this channel, and answer the giveaway question hiding somewhere during this vid. If you want to know if you won a giveaway, the winners' names will be announced the following week on my Yugi Slows segment. But that said, let's get into the video. What's up Yugi Bros, got another duel video for you guys today. I'm not normally one to put 2 duel videos with the same deck back to back. However, I felt this was actually good enough to showcase. So we got another Relinquished. It's a little bit modified from the last build. There's Offerings to Doomed in the main deck now, I think more so than there was before. There's 2 of these instead of 1. There's 1 less Sonic Bird. It's close to the same thing. I'll have the deck list, obviously, at the end of the video. But it makes a really good use of this with Offerings of the Doomed being at 2, because as much as the card's really good to blow up your opponent's monsters, you can also force this to be destroyed instead of through other means from your opponent if you need to bring this back, or vice versa, to kind of get the loop to continue going. It's really good when your opponent puts up a board and this is on the field, but they know to not bring this back, they just leave this be, and you can force your offerings to blow this up, summon Relinquish back, and then absorb their monsters. It's really good like that. Opposing us is the Amazon Twisted Personality deck. It's a little bit different from lists I've seen. For one, I actually do play the trainee, just as a one-of, but that's because there's villages in the deck. But again, deck lists will be at the end of the video, so as far as this goes, they elected to go second, so we're forced to go first. We open Senju, Illusionist, Faceless Magician, Relinquish, and Sphere Karibo. They open Nightmare Wheel, Dust Tornado, Trainee, and Lava Golem. This gets flipped in the beginning. For those that don't know, Twisted Personality, one of the best new skills we have in Speed Duels. At the start of the duel, you flip this card over. Each time a player loses life points, place 1 counter on this card, max 3. Once per turn during your main phase, you can use one of the following skills. Either you remove 2 counters from this card, then discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand, or you remove 3 counters from this card, then destroy 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Both effects are very strong, and give any deck that does a decent amount of extra burn damage a little extra playability. Not to say you couldn't just throw this in literally any deck, and then every time damage is inflicted at somebody, you get counters on this, so it just kind of, over time's really good. It's also decent against a mirror match against burn, which is kind of cool. Sometimes it ends up being relevant. We elected once again to play Ritual Ceremony. This is the skill that during your main phase once per duel, when you can reveal a ritual monster in your hand to add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand that can ritual summon that monster. We go first. We summon Senju. We have Senju search Relinquished, and then, like I said, we use the skill. Once they know we have Relinquished, I see no reason not to flip the skill, add the spell to the hand to make 1 card thinner into our deck so that we don't top deck it. And we'll pass because we don't need to exert beyond that. They draw into a second Nightmare Wheel. They'll summon Trainee. They'll set the house, and they'll go into battle phase and swing. Keep in mind, Trainee would shuffle this back into the deck. Would put it at the bottom of the deck and gain 200 attack if it killed it, but we Sphere Karibo, setting up our Relinquish play beautifully. We draw into Senju. We have Senju activate its effect, adding another Relinquished. Now all our Relinquishes are in hand. We're going to activate Black Illusion Ritual. We're actually going to send Illusionist Faceless Magician from hand to grave. We don't need to do this, and keeping it in hand does prevent our opponent from realizing we have it. However, they usually would be playing around this anyway nowadays. But keeping the Sphere Karibo in the grave allows us to have an extra tribute for the future. However, looking forward, I probably should have kept the Faceless Magician in hand, because we could have tribute summoned it to the field, which would have been nice. But this is where we're at currently. We summon Relinquish, we're declaring its effect to absorb, and it goes through. They have 2 Nightmare Wheels and a Dust Tornado. So none of those can stop this on the summon, or stop it, therefore, during the main phase. We're going to have Senju swing it for 14. We're going to have this Senju try to swing, but they're going to Nightmare Wheel it. And then we're going to have our Relinquish swing in for 17. Reason we later find out they don't use the other Nightmare Wheel is because they have Lava Golem, and they'd rather save the wheel. At this point, Twisted Personality should actually have 3 counters. They tribute for the lava golem here. They normal summon Amazona Swordswoman, and here we go. Yep, so we put the 3 counters on that. They take away 2 to discard a random card from our hand, which is really strong because this isn't a threat to them because they have Swordswoman and Nightmare Wheel. This isn't a threat just because it doesn't do anything. And it's on Nightmare Wheel, so you might as well keep it on the field. So you might as well hit the card in the hand, one of which being Relinquished. At this point, they are really far ahead. They will take 1,000 off the Lava Golem that we have on the field. We're not going to be able to... We're going to take more burn damage on their standby phase because of Nightmare Wheel on our Senju. We have no way to get rid of this or this, so we're just going to set the Zoma that we drew. And we're going to go in battle phase. And it's risky, but we don't really have another way to out this very fast. So we think maybe attacking this would be the right thing. However, thinking about it, if we can't get rid of this into the next turn, this would actually just kill ourselves. So we're kind of screwed regardless. But they Nightmare Wheel anyway, so it doesn't actually make a difference. So they'll draw on their standby phase. We take 500 and 500 due to Nightmare Wheel. This will go up only by 1 because it maxes out at 3, so it can't go to 4 counters, but that doesn't matter. They're going to use its effect once again to discard the remaining card in our hand. They're going to Dust Tornado our face down, which they should have done at the end phase, but it didn't matter in this case, being Zoma the Spirit. And they could just pass it and let us die to a Lava Golem and or one of these the following turn, but why not speed up the process, have Swordswoman swing into Lava Golem, and have us take exactly 15 for game. I'm not going to lie, this Amazonas Twister Personality burn is very scary to play against. I thought I would actually have a better time against it, but we quickly learned that is not exactly the case. So, we elected to go second, opening Faceless Magician, Wild Tornado, Black Illusion Ritual, and Sonic Bird. They open Swordswoman, Zoma, Village, and Dust Tornado. They're going to go first, activating Village and summoning Swordswoman, setting both the Dust Tornado and the Zoma the Spirit, and they will pass. It's a pretty good opening for them, since their Amazonas can recur itself through the Village's effect. Zoma the Spirit is extra burn damage, and Dust Tornado is always good to have in general. We draw into Senju, however, so this kind of gets our ball rolling. We're going to have Senju's effect activate, adding Relinquished to hand. And at this point, we're going to use the skill. We added it in the same search there, but we're going to activate Black Illusion Ritual. This time, Tributing Magician. I don't want to tribute anything else here, so this makes the most sense. Summoning Relinquished. And since they have nothing on summon that will get rid of this, we're going to use its effect to absorb their Swordswoman, which hurts them a lot because now they can't recur it through Village's effect. We're going to set our Wild Tornado, we're going to go into battle phase and have Senju swing in for 14. And we're going to have Relinquish swing in for 15. And they will flip Dust Tornado, getting rid of the Swordswoman. They might as well, otherwise that put them down pretty low, and Dust Tornado is not really doing anything else for them at the moment. And they don't have a recovery. So, hopefully they can draw into a monster swing over this. However, I know they probably are preparing for the worst, assuming that we might have a Spheric Karibo. Upside that we don't know, however, is they have a Zoma. So, end phase, they flip it, and it comes out in defense. Now, unfortunately, they didn't draw a monster, but Offerings to the Doomed will fill that role quite well. They're actually going to keep it in hand going into battle phase. I think that's pretty smart, because they're going to have this swing into this. If we Spheric Karibo, then they can use this and destroy this. They can't set it and then activate it in the same turn. So it's pretty smart on their play, because if this doesn't die, it's just going to absorb Zoma, and we're going to quickly win the game. So we had the Wild Tornado for the Zoma. We didn't have the Spheric Karibo. But even if we did have the Spheric Karibo, at this point it doesn't make a difference, so they're going to Offerings to the Doomed. However, they're going to hit the Senju, which is an interesting target, but I do understand it, because now that they don't have a monster, they want to preserve their life points as long as possible, and if we summon any other 1400 between Senju and Sonic Bird, that would be 28 for game. So they'll destroy the Senju, and we will draw. We have Sonic Bird, so we'll summon it, search Black Illusion Ritual. We're going to set Black Illusion Ritual and Double Cyclone, I believe. Yep. Might be a bluff, but hey, we have this in case we need to blow this up or blow something else up. And we're going to swing it for 14. However, they cannot draw because of Offerings to the Doomed going into their turn, so they're going to have to pass. They'll use Twisted Personality to get rid of the last card in our hand, but that's not going to amount to anything, as they will quickly lose to Sonic Bird, the Wrath of Sonic Bird. Going into Game 3. So, of course, they elect us to go first. Relinquished's biggest nightmare, opening double cyclone, offerings, black illusion, and senju. They open nightmare wheel, Soma's spirit, Amazon Sage, and swordswoman. Very good opening for them. Decent opening for us. We're going to set 2, however, and pass. No reason to reveal that we have this, which means we also have the spell card, even though we opened the spell anyways. And what's nice about offerings and double cyclone is if they summon a monster, we can pop it and then chain double cyclone, popping this and another card they have. Which, they summon Sage, so it's probably a good idea we do that. Now, they did draw into, what was it? Dust Tornado, so they have the Gauntlet. They're going to swing with Sage. We're going to flip Offerings of the Doom, targeting that, asking for a response. They have not. We chain in our double cyclone, and we'll roll a 2, 4, or 6. We hit a 5, so we're going to hit that farthest one, destroying their Dust Tornado and their monster. So that'll lead to a swift pass from them. We can't draw because of offerings. We're going to normal Senju, have its effect add i.e. Relinquish to hand. At this point, it's okay that they know it. We kind of just want to go in for damage. We might as well reveal the skill at that point as well, adding another card, and so we don't have to brick as much. We're going to set 1 as a bluff, because why not? And we'll have Senju swing in. Also, setting against this deck is pretty good because the skill exists. Now, this is only going to put 1 counter on the card, but they have really easy ways and methods of getting more counters on as fast as possible. For example, on the end phase, they're going to flip Zoma the Spirit. On the draw phase, they're going to draw into Offerings of the Doom. On the standby, they're actually going to flip Nightmare Wheel, using it on our Senju, so we take 500, putting their counters up to 2. They're going to remove 2 immediately and discard 1 random card from our hand. They're going to hit Relinquish. Now, this only pops a face-up card, and this ends up being no threat, so they might as well do that. Hitting Relinquish is huge, because now both of these end up being dead. I'm going to switch Zoma to attack mode, put Swordswoman on the field, set the offerings that they drew, and they are so far ahead in the driver's seat. They've got a lot of command going here. We'll take 400, putting a counter on Twisted. We'll take another 15, putting another counter on Twisted, and it's all up to our draw. Our draw has to be amazing. And it's Senju. That actually ends up being amazing. We're going to normal summon Senju, we're going to use its effect, and we're going to add Relinquish to hand. Then we'll flip our face down Black Illusion Ritual, tributing the Senju on the field for the Relinquished. However, on the summon, they flip Offerings to the Doomed, and that, unfortunately, will be the game. We'll try to set a bluff face down, but of course they're going to play through it, because why not? And that's game. So this is a really scary deck. Definitely don't want to be in the ring against this. I'm going to have to come up with a few countermeasures to try to beat this. But this is really strong. Let's check out the deck lists, though, shall we? So for Relinquished, we are playing triple Relinquished, triple Senju, double Sonic Bird, double Illusionist, Faceless Magician, triple Sphere Karibo, triple Black Illusion Ritual, double Cyclone, double Offerings to the Doomed, and double Zoma the Spirit. Originally, I wasn't even playing Zoma, and I was just keeping the deck at 20. Problem is, when you go into side deck, it's actually really tough to choose what you want to side out. Usually it's one of these, and maybe one of these, maybe one of these, depending on what you're playing against. You don't really want to lose most of the engine. But I threw in Zoma because extra fighting firepower is always good, and another 1800 beat stick is always relevant. But that way you can side in a few more relevant things. The side deck is 1 Lava Golem, 1 Djinn to deal with those trap heavy decks. The third double Cyclone for more Spawn Trap Destruction, a Wild Tornado for Spawn Trap Destruction, but also another target for double Cyclone to pop the free cards, and 2 Nightmare Wheel. This is mostly for Dark Moth. The entire extra deck is pointless, as most extra decks are in Speed Duels. But I actually really like this at 2. Originally, I thought once you had 1, it doesn't really matter to have more than that. However, sometimes they'll play around the first one, and Tribute Summoning for the second one then produces the loop once again, so something to keep in mind. Other than that, though, I think this deck's pretty solid. Unfortunately, it lost the match, but it's pretty consistent. This is really good with this and this if you have this in hand or grave. So something to keep in mind for that. Now, onto the Amazon Burn deck. This is a very interesting list, but this put in a lot of work. 1 Lava Golem in the main deck, triple Sage, triple Swordswoman, 1 Trainee, double Village, double Offerings to the Doomed, triple Zoma, triple Nightmare Wheel, double Dust Tornado. This in the main deck is really fun. A lot of people sometimes don't expect it. I know it's being played more often in these Twisted Personality builds, but it definitely puts in work, especially when they drop a turn 1. Sage, Keeping up that spell and trap destruction is just really strong. You have that and Dust Tornado, you should be fine, not having to worry about opposing Zomas or Nightmare Wheels and such. So it's just extra protection. But obviously you want to build your Amazons with when you have Village. Swordswoman's not it's self-explanatory. It's the best card in the deck still. When it comes to reverting damage back to your opponent. Trainee, I feel, is just a strong choice. You can easily side it out, but I want 7 Amazons in the main deck to make Village relevant. Game 2, you can side out the Villages, therefore siding out Trainee as well, so it's not necessary, but in the main deck, while you're playing with Village, I feel like you always want to have 7 targets for it. Double Village is questionable, but every time I play one, it's just not really enough to cycle through the deck. And then playing more than that's obviously a brick. Same with Heirloom. You don't need Heirloom in this deck. It's not the point of the deck. The point is to burn them for a lot of damage. So Heirloom's not that great. I actually swapped out an Heirloom for a half shot in the side deck, which I'll talk about in a second. This is interesting. A lot of people aren't playing this if they're playing this build. However, I feel like this is just still very, very good. You need extra ways to destroy your opponent's cards. Letting this swing directly lets you do more damage if their monsters aren't on the field, especially Zoma the Spirit being a big deal in this game right now. So it's just something to think about. Triple Zoma obviously is just ridiculous. This card is insane, and having it for your burn capabilities in this warrants the 3. Same with Nightmare Wheel. Warrants the 3 easily. Half the time you just flip it in the standby phase to burn them for 5, put a counter on Twisted Personality, and then you get rid of their monster right then and there. But the card definitely does what it's supposed to do, and also protects you from attacks, which is also nice. The Double Dust is standard. I just feel like it's something... You can actually swap this and maybe a Village or something and play more of these in the main deck. We side the second Lava Golem, which a lot of people don't see coming, but I still love how good this card is in the deck. Summoning a double Tribute Kaiju that burns them every turn in 4,000 Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very strong. We side the 1-of Blastsphere. A lot of people don't expect this, and I love it. It's just a little extra burn damage. We play with 1 half shot. Like I said, instead of playing Heirloom, I like this just for keeping anything alive generically, but also with Swordswoman, that combo's always been very powerful. Double Floodgate. This is for, I mean, you can bring this in against Relinquished. I'm not sure we did in that match. But strong there, strong against Dark Moth, screw Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. And, you know, other random texts as well. So it's not a bad card by any means, and it gives us more defense. And then the third Dust Tornado, I'm not sure it's necessary, but we have it just in case. We could actually swap this out for a Wild Tornado. I don't think that'd be going against the grain at all. And then the side deck, again, is pointless as always. But guys, what do you think? Do you like this decks? Do you like, love, or hate any of the choices that we have in the deck? Would you change anything out? Leave your comments down below as always. Like, subscribe as always. Hit that notification bell to get all of our latest updates. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Yu-Gi Bros out.